Hello, everybody. Diane Sayre here, the LaRouche candidate running for U.S. Senate against Chuck Schumer, the Senate Majority Leader, who's been there for 42 years, with a quick update. Obviously, the world is in quite an extraordinary situation, which is very dangerous, largely because of the delusions of grandeur of some of the Western leaders. And I will say, for those of you wondering, as of yet, Spectrum News has not agreed for my participation in the senatorial debate, which is scheduled for October 30th. Please keep your calls and emails going into Spectrum News, because given that 66,000 New York voters signed a petition for me to be on the ballot exactly so this question of nuclear war could be raised, then I should be included in the debate if there's still any shard of democracy left in the United States, given how we love to storm around the world, bludgeoning nations to be more democratic. We might try applying some of those principles to our own republic. Now, internationally, as you may be aware, the Russian Defense Minister Shoigu did a series of phone calls yesterday with the defense ministers of Turkey, people in the United States, yes, Defense Secretary Austin, and others, warning that the Russians have intelligence that the Zelensky regime is planning to construct a dirty bomb, that is a bomb with radioactive waste, radioactive elements, which would unleash radiation contamination and blame it on Russia. And of course, Zelensky said this was preposterous, but I would ask listeners to consider again who likely was the one who blew up Nord Stream 1 and 2. And I'm not saying Zelensky, I'm saying the West. And I would ask who attacked the Kerch Bridge. Russia is winning the war. They have no need to do this. So that is one point of great danger. Also, on nuclear matters, once again, the sanctions are backfiring. As people know, I have proposed that at Indian Point, we install a number of small modular reactors, since the transmission lines are still there and the original reactors have been dismantled and destroyed to a point they cannot be reopened. Well, there's one little problem. For small modular reactors, you need very highly refined uranium. Guess who produces it? Russia. So again, you can see it appears by design that the tactic implied by our sanctions against countries where you starve people, destroy their standard of living to get them to overthrow their governments, are being applied domestically in Western nations. To what end? I'm not exactly certain, but there will be tremendous strife and disruption unless the policies are dramatically altered, which is, of course, why I chose to run for U.S. Senate against Senate Majority Leader 6 ways from Sunday, Chuck Schumer. Now, I also wanted to add something about the situation in Haiti, where it has been proposed that there be an international military force to go in and back up the Haitian police against the drug gangs. And I have to weigh in emphatically against this. I agree with former U.S. Ambassador to Haiti, Daniel Foote, that this would be a disaster. Our treacherous ambassador to the UN, Linda Thomas Greenfield, told them that Mexico and the United States had a resolution for, quote, a carefully scoped non-UN mission led by a partner country with a deep and necessary experience required for such an effort. I know what's happened is we're not sending a military force right now, and we're imposing sanctions on the gangs. But if you want to know about the Haitian drug gangs, just ask the DEA. You might remember there were whistleblowers from the DEA, I think in 2015, who reported that members of the American Drug Enforcement Agency were working with the Haitian gangs. We are using Haiti as a drug transshipment point. Maybe Chuck Schumer should be asked about this, since he wants drug money flowing through the bank accounts of the United States. That's what his Marijuana Freedom and Opportunity Act is all about, after all. It's not to help poor people who've been wrongly, harshly prosecuted in the so-called war on drugs. We have never had a war on drugs, because if you had a war on drugs, you would do what Lyndon LaRouche said, which is not to arrest consumers, but to go after the banks, to go after the top of the drug trade, to shut down production. Instead, this was used by targeting poor people, minorities, etc., to get slave labor for privatized prisons, and to use it to create a clamor for full drug legalization, which will be a complete disaster. So these are my cheery updates for today. I actually believe that there is an interesting revolt going on in the world. Turkey is going to work with Russia to make a pipeline available to Europe if they're brave enough to buy the oil or natural gas if they don't want to freeze to death this winter. Saudi Arabia is talking about joining the BRICS. Many, many nations are deciding to buck the United States. All we have to offer them is doom and destruction. So I think Americans have to consider, do we want our nation to be a beacon of hope and temple of liberty? Do we want to be trusted by other people around the planet? If so, then support my campaign to unseat Chuck Schumer. The policy has to be dramatically changed, and Schumer is the enabler of everything rotten that the Biden administration is doing in collaboration with our British controllers around the world. Talk to you soon.